Hello there again. It's Kevin Kleeser coming to you from The World According to Kevin, which can be found right here at crystalvision.com with a Z, not an S. This is my weekly rant on the events that have occurred through the course of the week. My videos throughout the week, there's been one common thread that's been going through it. Obviously, I want you not to be voting for any of these clowns that are running for in election year 2012. The other thing I've been talking about is all the uproar going on with religion. Funny how that seems to come around every 4 years, that all of a sudden we've got to have that discussion from all our political hacks who are trying to get elected. We start with the Susan B. Komen for the Cure uproar when they tried to defund Planned Parenthood, and the backlash was so severe, not only did they immediately reverse course and give the money back, one of their leading members was forced out later in the week. And then we have Obama and the Catholic Church about the preventative care package trying to be implemented that was signed into law a year and a half ago that still isn't in play because of protests from the Catholic Church and their views that contraception should not be included in health insurance. Well, we already got my views on that. I won't go into that again. And then there's the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, federal courts that overturned results of Proposition 8 in California, which was denying gays the right to marriage. So a lot of that going on in the news. So basically I'm thinking election year 2012 should be called Crusaders on Review 2012 because that's what it feels like. That's all they're talking about these days. I want to start off with a simple paragraph from the U.S. Constitution regarding this issue, for those of you out there who aren't sure exactly how it reads. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievance. That's what it states. Nowhere in there do you read separation of church and state. What it's saying is that the United States government will not have a national religion that we all have to follow. So what it does is it gives freedom of religion to everybody to choose whatever they want to worship. Thomas Jefferson in 1803 was the one credited with the phrase separation of church and state, by the way. Anyway, these things, I mean, first off, I want to get to the fact that there's 1,500 Christian churches, different types of Christian churches out there. That's 1,500 churches all claiming the same right to their Savior Jesus Christ. Obviously, Christians. Well, none of them have a single voice, yet most of our politics these days is being driven by these arguments about contraception, abortion, the right for prayer in public school, putting up symbols in public land or public properties, any religious symbols. It's getting pretty crazy out there when a cross that's in a cemetery for the last 75 years is being ordered off the property because all of a sudden somebody's offended by it. So I am not that radical in my perspective. I see nothing wrong with symbols that denote a faith. I do mind it though when it comes to making laws and pressuring a society to follow the line or toe the line of Christian thinking, especially when it comes to issues of public health, meaning contraception, prenatal care, maternity care, all of these things that are extremely important in our society, and the church has deemed those things to go against their beliefs, so we can't have it. Screw you, again. Anyway, one of the things that's going on also right now in our society is people are waking up to this fact slowly. Over the last 22 years, there's been a 12% drop in people that are claiming Christian affiliation. In 1990, 87% of the population claimed to be Christians. 2010, they were all the way down to 74%. And if you go into the 20 to 30 age group, who I'm talking to right now, the numbers are even lower. You're not wanting to be affiliated with any particular belief because you're still trying to figure it out yourself. And kudos to you. And now for a disclaimer, I am not an atheist. I raised my children in a Christian household. I sent them to Christian schools because that was the best education I could give to my children for the buck. Also, my daughter has got her BS degree from Cal Lutheran in Thousand Oaks, and she's also doing her doctorate at Fuller Seminary in Pasadena. So now this isn't about my beliefs, because I'm not a hater. What I'm trying to say is all this conversation about religion and all of this uproar is just meant to keep us divided as a society. It keeps us from the important issues that are going on. And that's what I'm railing against. It's all bullshit. The only reason this is a hot button topic is that it does keep us divided and obscures the mass corruption going on behind the curtain. When the conversation is about insurance policies that include contraception, the Middle East, economic crisis in the European Union, hundreds of thousands of Russians protesting the return of mafioso Putin, and the fact the majority of the millennium generation face a lifetime of underemployment all fade into the background. Our conversation isn't about where we're headed as a society, where we should be going as a society. It's about talking about the things that are going to piss one another off. What your views are about abortion has nothing to do about your views about where we go as an entire society. I mean, we're getting nothing corrected because we're too busy letting the politicians set the... They're setting the agenda. They're setting the conversation. We're not doing it anymore. We're not having debates about where we should be heading. We're having debates about all the problems that have been going on for the last 60 years that are intractable. We're never going to agree along religious lines. Religions are absolutes. Governments is about diplomacy and compromise. Ergo, it's all smoke screens. So get off your ass and stop dealing with this, and let's talk about what's really going on in the world these days. It's also a reason why most of the intelligent people are being driven out of politics. They hear all of this and they want nothing to do with it because they want the debate to talk about things that are important. Like, how are we going to create jobs for a population that continues to grow at a rate that technology's not going to support jobs to fill? The millennium generation out there are going to be underemployed and unemployed because these jobs aren't coming back. And even the jobs that do come back are not in the numbers to support the rising population we are now being dealt. So, when I talk about contraception, when I talk about prenatal care, when I talk about family planning, these are things that are important to our survival as a society to get figured out as a society, not as one religious group or another. Family is everything. And so when I hear these politicians talking about the hypocrisy of family values, and then I see what kind of family values they have within their own family, I want to punch them because they're hypocritical to the most. I spent my life walking the walk when I raised my kids and giving them the things as a family they needed so that family is an important issue, and we've got to get back to that as a debate as far as what we're going to do to give these kids that we're raising an opportunity to succeed in this world. Anyway, I really want your views on this one because, as I say, I'm not a hater on religion. I have absolutely nothing but respect for the majority of Christians I know out there as individuals. But when I get in discussions about civil rights and they want to claim, no, they can understand why gays should have the right to marriage, but personally they don't like it, so they'll vote against it, I have a problem with that because it's a civil right. Did these same people have a problem with blacks being lynched in Alabama back in the 50s and the 60s? It's a civil rights issue. Civil rights affects everybody. One person not being allowed their civil rights impacts all of us negatively. So, anyway, that's just my view on it, and I'd like to hear what yours are. Thank you, and good night.